Hello Year 8 and welcome to today's lesson. We're going to start off with a bit of a puzzle. So on the next slide you're going to see 4 different images. I'd like you to try and work out the connection between these pictures. So what connects the devil, witches, Denmark, that's the flag of Denmark if you didn't get that, a thistle, which is a symbol of Scotland, and the famous Mary, Queen of Scots? Well, some of you might have got the answer. It's James I. And we're going to be looking at James I today. Now, shall we go over those connections? So James was the Scottish king, but he was also the first James of England. So he was James VI of Scotland, James I of England. He was the son of Mary, Queen of Scots, and he became the next King of England after Elizabeth died with no heir. He was, of course, related to Elizabeth because we know that Mary and Elizabeth were cousins. He married a Danish lady, Anne of Denmark, and when Anne was travelling across to Scotland for the wedding, there was a big storm, and James was convinced it was the work of witches. And he wrote a very famous book called Malleus Maleficarum, which was all about trying to stop witches, get rid of them, find them in society. And in fact, his reign in England and in Scotland saw the only, or rather maybe the biggest, witch hunts we'd ever seen in our history. So, this is James. He's known as James I of England, James VI of Scotland. That's just because there had already been 5 Jameses already in Scotland. Now, James initially became King of Scotland when just a child, because his mother, Mary Queen of Scots, was forced to abdicate. He then gained the throne of England in 1603 when Elizabeth died, and this is the first time we have a monarch that rules both England and Scotland. The 2 countries weren't yet united in the United Kingdom, but we call this the Union of Crowns. It's the first step towards a big united kingdom like we have today, a Britain, a UK. So, today we're going to get acquainted with James. We're going to learn a little bit of information about him, and we're going to try and decide if we think he was a good king or not. First thing I'd like you to do is have a read of the information sheet and complete the questions on James. Can you please write these questions out and answer them underneath? Please submit them to me, take a photo or do it on Word, that's absolutely fine. Submit it via Show My Homework. And if you're very, very excited and love to do a bit more history, there are some extension questions here on the slide. Right, so hopefully now you know a bit about James. Now this is setting us up to look at this next lesson. Now this is a really famous object, and we're really lucky because you could go see this, if we weren't in lockdown that is, as it's housed in the Ashmolean Museum in the centre of Oxford. It's a form of lantern. Now why do you think that would be in the Ashmolean Museum? Why would we have bothered to keep a lantern? Well, what is James most known for? He's most known for his involvement in the Gunpowder Plot. Now, you may sort of recollect the Gunpowder Plot. Certainly, hopefully something comes to mind. And actually, every year, you celebrate the anniversary of the Gunpowder Plot on the 5th of November, on Bonfire Night. This lantern is the lantern that Guy Fawkes was caught with that night. So there's Guy. There's Guy being burned in effigy in the modern day. Next lesson, we're going to go on to learn about the events of the Gunpowder Plot. Have a lovely day, Year 8. See you later.